episode 206 of Is This Thing Working? How's it going, Denise?
Man, it is awesome. It's going great. We're so glad to be here with you today.
We got a lot to talk about.
That's what we love. We love being here with everybody.
We talk through the music. We talk through the fire sirens. We talk through everything. That's what we do. We talk.
We do.
I guess, man. Apparently. And we got a lot to go over today, man. We've had a crazy weekend. You know, it seems like every weekend there's something crazy happening, man. Every single weekend, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we want to start by saying that these are our opinions. And everything we say on this show is our assertions. So you just bear with us.
Yep.
And if you like us, please share the show with everybody.
Yep. Stomp that like button. Share the show. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. And hey, like Denise said, these are our opinions and they're our assertions. And if you don't like our opinions and our assertions, you know what I say to you? Go ahead and tell your friends and share our show.
Yes, because we love you all.
Yep, stomp that like button anyway.
And as you have noticed, we have changed our hours and times. And on the screen here in front of us, we will not be on the screen. You will see our beautiful pictures over here with Is This Thing Working with hosts James and Denise. And then you see our website, which is right there on the screen. And you can listen to us on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and we are live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yep.
And we're going to try to put out an hour show, but honestly, we're just going to talk until we feel like we want to stop.
That's exactly what we're after.
We enjoy and love being with you every single day because there is so much going on. And one thing that we have to say every day is free Steve Bannon.
Yep. Free Steve Bannon. And me and Denise have talked a lot about this since Steve's been in prison. And you talk about it and you think about who are the voices that are out there that are going to continue to spread the message that Steve has each and every day and to spread the message of the mission and what we're about, our call to action. Natalie Winters is who you need to listen to. If you want to hear Steve Bannon, you listen to Natalie Winters. Here's her talking about immigration. Check her out.
Of distracting from a conversation that is a conversation that you guys know all too well, that establishment Republicans and Democrats do not want to have. And that's about immigration, legal, illegal, and mass migration. And that's too nice a term because it's an invasion, a state-sponsored invasion. It's not a Trojan horse because at least the city of Troy had gates. This is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden intentionally flying people into this country from some of the most backwards countries that consistently rank in the hierarchy of countries on how democratic they are in the bottom 10%. But yeah, Morning Joe, keep lecturing us how important democracy is. Well, maybe if democracy is what those idiots in the cold open were talking about, where it's a fake set of candidates that you get to choose from, where you don't get people like Donald Trump who are a shock to the system, then I don't want any part in that democracy. And you guys are right that Donald J. Trump is an existential threat to that form of feigned democracy. And by the way, we're not even a democracy, we're a republic.
100%.
So when you're going to try to retrofit all those globalist attacks on this country and say democracy, we must defend it straight all the way from Brussels or Davos, take your pick, NATO or the World Economic Forum, maybe you should at least try to tailor it just a little bit more to the United States.
Yes, there you go.
That signal right there, folks. 100%.
And one of the things that you always hear them talk about, people that are make America great again, people that are MAGA, they always try to talk about political rhetoric, and they try to say that Donald Trump was the one responsible for the political rhetoric that J6 created. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And they keep using that and saying that he actually promoted rhetoric during that time when he did not. He and everyone else that showed up there on January 6th knew very well what happened in that election.
Yeah.
And guess what? President Trump is live right now on X. We have a big show for you, but we're going to see if we can listen in on a space that he's on X. He is live from Mar-a-Lago. Let's listen.
Let's pop in.
Let us set it all up first for everybody. There it goes.
Oh, do I have to hit got it?
Maybe.
Okay, I don't think they're
not talking right now, are they? I thought I heard someone talking. Well, anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep checking back in.
We're just going to keep not knowing what we're doing here.
Yes, because when someone's speaking, the co-host or the host starts speaking. President Trump is always just a little bit late. So we'll check back in on him as we go through the show, because this is fun. I love this. I love being live, everybody. You know, and we can all talk together and join in the chat. Everyone join us in the live chat. Please just let us know that you're there. Share with all your friends. And we're going to get back to the rhetoric that continues to come from the Democrats. And it has this whole time. They come out and say that it's the conservatives that are doing it, when everyone knows by now at this period in time that it's them.
It's the mainstream media, the Democrat Party, and the Rhino Republicans. That's where the rhetoric's coming from, man.
You know, and it all starts with this weekend, how President Trump once again almost was assassinated. Twice. This is 2 times that he's almost assassinated. I just can't even hardly say anything about that, because I am upset that people are not doing anything about it. Upset that the media turned on him. I mean, I thought it was great that President Trump came out with this wonderful list.
Yeah.
Of, all of the rhetoric. I mean, he listed them. He called their names out. So look at this. Look at this on what he says. I mean, look at all the names.
And this is from a Gateway Pundit article. It's just pages of it. I think it's like 4 different pages. And I was going to say that too, man, is of all the people that use that kind of rhetoric, the divisive rhetoric, all you got to do is go back to all of the State of the Union addresses of President Joe Biden, and that's all that he done. All he done was sit there and push that. It's time to put Trump in the bullseye. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Trump is a threat to this nation. There is one existential threat. It's Donald Trump, man.
And then Kamala Harris repeatedly says Trump is a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms.
Joe Biden, Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He's literally a threat to everything America stands for. Joe Biden, Trump, and MAGA Republicans are a threat to the very soul of this country. Again, Joe Biden, Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic, and that is a threat to this country. You know, not only is he responsible for most of all of the hateful rhetoric and the hateful rhetoric against MAGA. Not only is he most responsible for it, who else is responsible for all of this? The mainstream media is responsible for it.
We haven't even got to them yet.
Morning Joe, Mika, all the other idiots on MSNBC
and ABC. You know, you saw what happened at that debate. That was just terrible. You know, how there was 3-on-1 fact checking him, you know, all because CNN didn't fact check him. Well, you know, because he was telling the truth.
Well, and that's their excuse that they said, you know, well, it's because they didn't, but you know good and well it's because they hate him too.
You know, but then there's even Congress people like Representative Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
She says MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically.
Yeah.
How on earth are we a threat to her? You know what we're a threat to her about? We can actually vote her out. That's what she dislikes.
That's the only threat that should be. Here, this is what she had to say. I got this down. I got this too. Where is she? I know I got her. There she is. Here we go.
I talk about the fact that when we swore in finally in January, that we swore to defend against those that are coming against us, whether they are domestic or international. And right now,
those that are coming against us. Do you hear what she just said? Those who are coming against us. She ain't talking about us as a country. She's talking about, just like you said, she's talking about her and their seat in power.
That's exactly right.
What she's talking about. Let's keep going.
I feel like MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically. And
how? All we want
is to make America great again.
Well, exactly.
You know, and we want free and fair elections. And we want to not be forced into lockdowns in our homes. People forget what was going on at that time. COVID was going on. And Joe Biden, you know, slinked his way into that White House and mandated everybody to do everything he said like he was a king.
Well, yeah.
You know, I mean, and these people continue, you know, on with the rhetoric all the time saying it's MAGA this, MAGA that. Well, you know, they don't ever say what MAGA means. They don't ever say
make America great again.
No,
because they don't want America great again. She's living proof of this. Continue on. Let's hear what she has to say.
you see it time and time again. And I think that's why you see so many national leaders, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, coming together to say there is only one person qualified to be the commander in chief, and that is Kamala.
Oh my gosh. Republicans, you know what Republicans those are? Those are the ones that we kicked out of the party. You know,
that's exactly right.
We kicked them out because they have no place here.
No.
I mean, Liz Cheney, she got voted out. Like what president said, bigly, hugely.
Yeah.
You know, by a massive amount of people. And then she wants to call up her dad like he's all important. Then the Bushes. Well, you know what? We fight the Bushes here in Texas over and over again. But I will say,
we defeat the Bushes here in Texas.
We do.
Over and
we
over
have
again.
Because our great attorney general is just wonderful, and we helped them overcome the Bushes, and they're still trying to come after him. You know. But one thing that got me is last night I sat up and watched. I recorded it, but I sat and watched 60 Minutes, and on the first part of 60 Minutes, there was Matthew Graves sitting there in that chair.
Right.
Just arrogant and bragging
about the thousands of J6 convictions that he's had.
Just over and over. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. He goes on. He calls himself a career
prosecutor.
What does that mean, folks? I've been been thinking about it all day long about what is a career prosecutor. I mean, does that mean if you're a career prosecutor, then you only work in the White House, or do you work elsewhere? So you're a traveling prosecutor. What exactly do you do? And everyone knows that prosecutors, they get to pick and choose who they want to,
Well, yeah,
who they want to bring up on charges, who they want to go to court. You know what I mean? They get to pick and choose.
yeah. Well, and basically what 60 Minutes done was another hit piece against MAGA and January 6th and the MAGA movement. Basically, that's all that this was. And it was, here we go. This is what it says. Like we talked about, more than 1,000 Americans have been convicted in the J6 2021 attack on the Capitol. About 350 trials are still pending, and the FBI continues its dragnet for suspects. So you're telling me after 3.5 years, we're still looking for people we can throw in jail?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And Julie Kelly's posting about it all the time. The amount, another one and another one and another one.
Yep.
And how the FBI shows up at their doors in the middle of the night, and immediately, they're up for trial. Their lives are ruined.
Yeah. Well, here's what they talks about him calling himself a career politician. Graves has worked with the Bush and the Biden Justice Department. He's won over 1,000 January 6 convictions and only lost 2 of those cases at trial. So Scott Pelley asked him, well, what's the best evidence that you've had? Here's what he says. The crimes that occurred that day are probably the most recorded in all of our history. You also have the words of the defendant explaining what they were going to do or what they had done.
Yeah, it says evidence from the trial show many in the mob were determined to stop the count of the electoral vote that would certify Joe Biden's victory. They were enraged by President Trump's false claims of a stolen election.
Here's
See
the
what
framing.
60 Minutes does
here's
here?
the framing. Yep.
They immediately say that they were enraged by President Trump's false. Well, they weren't. It wasn't false. There is plenty of evidence out there that no one wants to take to court.
Right.
No one does, because they're being threatened behind the scenes. I just know it. I know these people are.
Well, the thing is,
there's got to be a reason. I mean, look at what's going on in Georgia and then Arizona and Pennsylvania, how they've gone through the courts and the judges, and you'll get one judge overturned and then the next judge will come back and stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable to me.
Yep. Well, and I was going to say about the people that were there, if they were enraged at that moment when they came into the Capitol, any of those that were enraged at that moment is those that were standing there getting concussion grenades chunked into the crowd at them. Those that were sitting there getting tear gassed and riot gassed, those that were getting pushed back and beat on by police.
Yes.
If there was any enragement, that's what it was about.
That's exactly what it's about. But no, they want to say that these people were coming in there to, stop the electoral count.
And that's not it at all.
Y'all need to be reminded of exactly why they were there. They were there to, tell
redress
the
their grievances.
Redress their grievances. Thank you. Yes, that's what they were there for.
Of an election that was obviously stolen.
And Pence and many of the House and Senate that were in there were there with questions about these elections.
Yes.
Now they have memory hold all this, folks. Y'all forget that. Well, I haven't forgotten. James hasn't forgotten. And we continue to tell you on our show over and over and over again that they want you to forget why the people were there. They were there because they were following the Constitution and doing what the Constitution asked them to do,
which was peacefully protest,
peacefully
redress their grievances to the government. That's exactly all that they were there to do.
And that's all we were asking, or they were asking.
The only reason people came into the Capitol was because They opened the doors and let them in.
Yes, they did.
Man,
Yeah, and it's and it goes on. It just kept on going on. So Scott Pelley goes on and he says, "You must have felt strongly to drive 2,000 miles to Washington." And this is talking about one of the January 6th defendants that were there. And his name is Jared Hughes. And he says, "Yes, sir. I still feel very strongly." Jared Hughes came from Montana. He's a married 39-year-old construction worker with a daughter and a grievance. That's the truth.
Yep.
He had a grievance, and he said, "The way this country is headed, my paycheck, my wife's disabled, and it's been hell for us to try to make it with the tens of thousands of dollars of medical bills, and a lot of us see Donald Trump, the outsider, coming in and trying to help us out, trying to help the little guy out against the big government." That's absolutely 100% what people were there for.
Exactly.
Now the government turned on them, absolutely turned on them. And as you can tell, over 1,000 people, this Matthew Graves, who is a career prosecutor.
Yeah. Well, and look at this. It goes on to say, no matter how I look at it, Jared Hughes said, "I share some of the responsibility for everything that happened that day, letting people in, being part of that mob. I didn't personally fight any cops or engage with any officers, but I have a lot of family that are police officers. I have a tremendous amount of respect for police, and I did not like seeing them being assaulted." Scott Pelley says, "We didn't see a lot of respect for police in that video." Well, no, absolutely. I mean, I'll hold my hand up and say I was wrong. I should not have been screaming at those cops. It's not something I'm proud of. Let me tell you what, man, when you're standing there loud, peacefully protesting, when you're standing there protesting and the cops are there chunking concussion grenades into you, into the crowds, when they're there gassing you and they're instigating and inciting the things that go on. Dude, I don't got a lot of respect for the police either.
Yeah, not for the police there that day.
Not for those, no ma'am.
If you're looking at the screen right now, you can see the pictures and the videos on the side of things that happen. And I'm not saying that people didn't get hurt. I'm not saying that it wasn't a scary time. It was a very scary time, but it was a scary time for everybody on both sides of the aisle, because we lost our country that day. We lost it to the Democrats who stole an election because they knew they couldn't win without the mail-in ballots.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and check in and see if we can listen to President Trump. Is he live yet?
Let's see.
I don't know. The host.
Let's try it again.
By
Here we go.
stupid people. And we have a great military. I took out ISIS in 4 weeks, and everyone said it was going to.
Oh, come on, man. Well, if I can't join it because I'm already in it, why aren't you playing it in the other one?
I know.
Killing me, Smalls.
Well, here, just go down there and start listening. Maybe we should leave it and start and do it again.
Leave it up here.
Yeah. No, right here.
Ha. All right, let's try it again.
Here we go, folks. We're gonna try it again.
Y'all hang in there with us. We
Hang
don't
in there
have
with
a
us.
clue what we're doing here.
We're all new at all this.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to Tell Us What to Do.
Here we go.
Listen live. Start listening.
Oh.
I don't know why we can't hear her.
50, 60,000 people showing up to events, and
Right.
you know, other people don't have that. But he couldn't have been nicer. But I thought he was treated really unfairly. He went through a primary system, he won, and then they threw him overboard. And she got no votes. You know, she got no votes. But she'd be very bad for the country. We have to save our country. We can't play games, and we can't have a Marxist communist president, because that's not what it's all about. So we're going to do it, and we're going to make our country greater than ever before. And you're going to be happy, and you're going to love your crypto. And as long as you have crypto, you're happy. So I know
Absolutely.
what makes you happy. Nothing else but crypto.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when the Twitter Spaces was officially announced and that you put the tweet out, a lot of people were like, "Well, who's this Farouk guy?" And obviously, you know, a lot of people started digging into this Farouk guy, and you know, the main reply that was that I'm just this crypto bro. But you know what, Mr. President, I am a proud crypto bro. You know, and it seems like you're starting to become one of us, if not already. I know for a fact that your children are quite involved in the space. I mean, we have Baron, Don Jr., and Eric on the Twitter Spaces right now. Eric and Don Jr. here, who will be joining us a little later on this programming. But, you know, get into crypto now, because I already see the people on Twitter Spaces really eager to hear you talk about this. You know, at the recent Bitcoin conference, you mentioned that, and I quote, "America should be the crypto capital of the world."
Yeah.
That was a big statement, and I believe the correct one. So why is it not right now?
Well, I think it will be right now. Right now, you have a very hostile SEC. I guess you'd have to say, I don't know, when you say administration, do you call it Biden or do you call it Harris? Nobody really knows what to call it, but maybe we'll say a combination of both. But they've been very hostile toward crypto, toward all of it, and extremely hostile, like nobody can believe. Nobody even understands why. My attitude is different. If we don't do it, China's going to do it. China's doing it anyway.
They are.
But if we don't do it, we're not going to be the biggest, and we have to be the biggest and the best. And you know, when you look at values, and when you add it all up, the value of this whole thing is bigger than they were showing me. Your top 20 corporations and all of this, the numbers are just gigantic. It suffers from some credibility lapses. I mean, some things were done or not done, but it's very young and very growing. And if we don't do it, China's going to do it. If we don't do it, other countries are going to do it. A lot of countries would like to be in a position. We have the advantage because it's us. But you have a big advantage because it's me, because I do believe in it. I also know a lot of friends that are really into it. And my kids, I mean, Baron knows so much about this.
Right.
Eric, and Baron's a young guy, but he knows it. He talks about his wallet. He's got 4 wallets or something. And I'm saying, what is a wallet? Explain this to me. But he knows this stuff inside out. And Eric and Don know it so well.
They do.
It's almost like younger people know it a lot better than older people. But I have a lot of respect for them. They've shown great judgment, all of them. And I think you're onto something. You're onto it a lot sooner than most people. You know, it's sort of like it's a fledgling business, and yet it's a massive business, but it has a chance to really be something special. And when I do things, I notice a lot of crypto comes in. People pay with crypto.
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't see that even a year ago, 2 years ago. So
That's amazing.
I think it's really, it's big, and yet it's a fledgling compared to what it will be.
And I love that you're mentioning your children and how Baron is using his wallet. Similar to me, I'm trying to teach my mother how to use it. I send her one ETH every Christmas, one ETH every birthday, and same for my little Zoomer brother, who probably isn't Baron's age category. So has learning about crypto from your children had an impact on you?
Well, it makes it easier, and it's sort of like a language. I have a beautiful granddaughter, Ivanka's daughter, and she is Arabella. She speaks perfect Chinese.
Wow.
And their other 2 children, 2 great young boys, they speak perfect Chinese. They learned it when they were 2 and 3 and 4 from a nanny who was Chinese.
That's impressive.
And she was from China. And she would teach Arabella. When President Xi was here, President Xi couldn't believe it. She walked up to him and had a perfect conversation. And I said, so how did she do? He said, as good as any 10-year-old girl in Beijing. I remember that statement. I mean, she speaks it perfectly, but she learned it at a very young age.
Wow.
if you're going to learn, if it's China or Japan or any language,
right.
it's not that easy to do.
No.
But as a child, it's almost like a natural. So it's a little bit like that, I think, with crypto. Now, I think crypto is a lot easier,
Right.
if you want to know. But there is a learning curve. And yeah, my kids really understood it, and they understood it pretty much right at the beginning.
Yeah, we were chatting with Eric in the back, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, this is really awesome."
He knows. Yeah.
Oh, we're about to hear all about your son's crypto endeavors and how much they know about it, which is really cool. I just came back from Asia. I was at the Korea Blockchain Week and at WebEx in Japan, and over there at the moment, everybody's in Singapore tuning live to listen to us live on Spaces for Token 2049. What's impressive in the East is that crypto is not the future; it's the present. Whereas when I come here and in Canada and North, it feels like I'm being taken aback. So the question I have for you, following up on what I was asking earlier, is why is it so important for America to lead in cryptocurrency adoption and innovation?
Well, it's crypto, it's AI, it's so
Right.
many other things. AI, speaking of an interesting future, it needs tremendous electricity capability beyond anything I've ever heard. It never made sense to me, but this is what it needs. If you take all of the electricity coming out of the US, in order to be dominant in AI, you need twice that amount just for this one thing. Who would think that? You need twice the electricity we already have. And you got to get started. I mean, you have to be, if you're the US, you have to get started.
Right.
You don't want to be left in the dust. And China's already building electric plants, and they want to build them for the AI, and it's very important. But you need tremendous electric, and in this country, because of our strong environmental impact statement problems that we have, China doesn't have those problems. They don't do them. They just build. They said, build over here,
Right.
build over there. With us, you have to go through years, but I'll make it possible to create tremendous amounts of electricity very rapidly. But people don't know that. People don't know that you need double the electricity of what we already have. So you want to get in, whether it's crypto or AI or other things that are coming along, and it's part of the game. We want to have a great country. We want to stay at the top. We're making things now. We're starting, and it started under my administration, that there was no chance of ever even getting involved in for a long time.
Right.
And we're leading the pack in so many ways. One of the things I'm very proud of is Space Force. We were getting lapped in space by China and by Russia. And now we are the leader in space. And I have to tell you, Elon is doing a fantastic job. He's my friend. He endorsed me for president, so strongly. It was incredible. But he is doing an amazing job with respect to space. When you look up, I think somebody said he sends 90% of the rockets sent up throughout the world are his.
Wow.
And you got to hand it to him. He's something.
He definitely is. Wish he was here, but at least we're using his. We'll get him. We're definitely using his platform to do so, and I'm sure there's a reason for that. So, to create this future we're talking about, right? Like, there's a lot of American entrepreneurs, founders in crypto that need to sadly leave the country because it feels like at times we're being treated like we're not really welcome to build companies here. The CEO of our company over at Rug Radio was actually debanked earlier last year, but we'll get into that later. Do you think it's important for America to have a legal framework for crypto so that businesses can thrive and survive here?
I do, and they should have certain safeguards too. Maybe somebody would say that's a bad thing to say, but no,
I know.
it can't be totally freewheeling.
That kind of
And
worries me.
I spoke to some of the
'cause
big
then
crypto
there goes
people.
regulations.
They want certain safeguards.
Right.
But
Right,
it's
or
a very hostile
regulations.
environment right now. From what I understand, the SEC has been extremely hostile and really going after people. And I think, frankly, since they heard I was involved, they've treated people much better. Maybe they view it as votes. But people that were under serious investigation for having done nothing wrong are all of a sudden not allowed to go free. And I really believe that's because they see, this is a very big market. This is a very powerful market.
Very.
So I'm glad I helped. If I helped, I don't know, maybe I didn't. But the SEC has been unbelievably hostile. The one thing is that if for some reason bad things happen and we don't win the election, those people that were under investigation and that are free as a bird right now, and people that weren't being looked at in the crypto world, they will be living in hell because it'll start the day after the election if they win. And I view it differently. I mean, I just view it that we have to be the top no matter what we do.
Right.
Chips or anything else, we were really starting to go with the chips. We have to be number one. And I think AI is really important, but I think crypto's one of those things we have to do. Whether we like it or not, we have to do it.
It's really, really cool to hear it from you in person. We've only heard it on TV and newspaper, etc. But it feels good to know that a presidential candidate and someone who is already president of the United States of America feel this way about cryptocurrency. I'm sure myself and a lot of people in the industry are relieved to hear that. And now we'll see what the results are in November. But on something a little lighter now, I remember the day your NFT collections came out. That was super cool.
Right.
So I hosted a morning show called FOMO Hour with my friend OSF and Mando and now Tyler. And so we were live on air when the link dropped. And so it was the very, very first collection. There was a chance to have dinner with you. And I remember just like scrambling to buy them. We're staying live. We stopped the show live on air to thousands of people like, no, we got to buy these. We're going to buy these. I got to spend $25K on this. Let's go. Right. Let's do it. Which is another cool thing about people in crypto, right? Or there's crypto bros that they call. And so we're trying to buy these things. And it was just so electric and crazy that we actually failed. But hey, I guess that's a good thing because the collection, ended up selling out. And then you ended up doing, I believe, you ended up doing that 3 times over. Can you tell us more about the success that you have had with NFTs, but also like, did that surprise you?
Well, I got in very late and NFT was considered cold. I mean, to be honest, it was a cold industry. It had its day a few years before, as you probably know. But when I did it, I said, what do we have to do with anything else? And it's playing cards and some beautiful artwork and other things. And we went out with 45,000 NFTs, and it was amazing. We thought it would take 6 months, maybe a year to sell. It sold out. I don't want to get myself in trouble by saying exactly the first day, but pretty close to it. It was like almost immediately.
It was quick.
Yeah. Like
we failed every transaction.
Right. Almost immediately. And then we did a second one likewise. And then we did a third one. And then we just did a fourth one. And I asked the people from the first 3, I said, well, do you want to have us do? Because, they have they have very big pride to start off with. But I said, are you going to, if we do a fourth one, does that affect you and the ones you already own? Because some people bought a lot of them. Some people bought one. And they're all very happy, really happy. I said, does it affect you? And everybody, it was like sort of a phone poll, just like, and everybody wanted the fourth one, which surprised me because you would think they wouldn't want the fourth one because maybe it waters down their own pieces that they have. And they did. They wanted it, and they wanted it badly. So we did a fourth and just did it recently. And I think it's just about gone. It's amazing. And one of the things I know, the crypto played a big role because they paid.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we're not getting checks with dollars. We're getting crypto.
It's instant.
Instantly. Yeah. It's been... And that taught me a little bit about what you love. It taught me something that was incredible. We did the NFTs. It was so cool. People said, don't do it. You're not going to.
I'm sure.
And we did it and it sold. Literally, we had anywhere from 6 months to a year. And I think we did it in a day or something.
So it was
that. Right?
It was quick. Yeah. It was quick. And you know what? It was fun. That's what it was.
It is fun.
It was a lot of fun. So I'm aware that you probably have a million things to get to. So I kind of want to finish off with a couple more questions for you, Mr. President. So first and foremost, were the NFTs a big part of the story, of your story, of how you came to see the value in digital assets?
A little bit because so many people paid this way. If they didn't, if they would have been paying in dollars, I would have said, that's standard. I would have assumed. And I was blown away. I wasn't overly interested in it, to be honest, but I did ask, like, what percentage was taken between Bitcoin and all of the other things, but through crypto, and it was a massive majority, and I was a little surprised by that. And that was a while ago now, and it opened my eyes. But I think my children opened my eyes more than anything else. Wow. And plus, I have a friend on my right who's a very smart guy, and he's not quite as young as his fantastic son who we were dealing with, Alex, and all of them. but he knows a lot about this stuff for a man of his age. He's still pretty young, but for a man of his age, Steve Witkoff knows a lot about this.
He definitely does. And he's here on your right. We're about to get to Steve Witkoff. And for everybody in the audience right now, if you're listening to us live, hang tight. I have one more question for Mr. President, and then we're going to be joined by Don Jr., Eric Trump, and the World Liberty Financial teams, and Corey and everybody, the advisors around it. So we have quite the programming for you. But Mr. President, one last question that you may or may not have answered with your last answer here is, so if there was one thing that got you to see crypto differently, what was it?
If it was what?
One thing that got you to see crypto differently. What was it?
Well, maybe the NFTs. You sort of brought that up because
he
I was
just
surprised
answered.
again
Yeah, I
at the
know. That's
percentage of
another question.
of them
That's the
that were
same
sold through
question.
that
Just worded a
through that
little
form.
differently.
You could do a new form of currency. You could call it anything you want, but that was. I think it was also the level of enthusiasm that my young sons have for this. Pretty young guys. I mean, one's extremely young and two are pretty young, right? But the level
What do y'all
of
think about
enthusiasm they
crypto
have
out
for
there,
crypto.
folks?
Yeah.
And also just to add a third element, I have a lot of
Let
friends,
us know in the chat.
very smart people, some very
Talking
smart
to
people,
President,
and
we're listening to
they're
President Trump
believers.
right now.
So it means something to me.
Well, I appreciate
Live
that. And I
from
appreciate you.
Mar-a-Lago.
Everybody hang tight, please. I will go to Mr. Witkoff in a second, and we'll be joining by the next set of guests. But Mr. President, it's an honor. Thank you for having me. And honestly, the fact that you've done this the day after a second assassination attempt means the world to me. Just a little 30-year-old boy from Montreal that started from just hosting Twitter Spaces, now hosting yourself. So thank you for allowing me to do so.
Great job. Thank you very much.
Great job.
Yep.
You did good, Fire. I know he was nervous. What do you think?
Oh, he was. Man.
Hosted President Trump in a space.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not gonna stick around and listen to everybody else in there. Maybe later we'll check into it. But right now we're going to continue with the show. And the host of the space mentioned another thing that we have not gotten into really yet, and that is President Trump's assassination attempt.
Right.
We have an article here from Gateway Pundit, and it will give us a little bit of details. Yep. Which is what everyone really needs. We need some details, and we need to know what is going on from the great.
Yep. The great Jim Hoft. Title of this, the headline reads, alleged Trump assassin set up sniper's nest near former president's golf course and hid for nearly 12 hours, is what the federal prosecutors are telling us.
Are they the career prosecutors?
Well, yeah, they said that they said that they pinged his phone from like 2 a.m. that morning until 1:30 when he finally left.
Yeah, but they were calling him Ryan Routh.
Yeah,
the alleged would-be assassin of former President Donald Trump, reportedly set up a sniper's nest near Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach and waited for nearly 12 hours, preparing for an ambush that could have changed the course of history, federal prosecutors revealed on Monday, which is today.
Yeah. Gateway Pundit reported earlier that Routh was charged with 2 federal gun crimes during his appearance in federal court today: possessing a firearm despite being a convicted felon, and possessing a firearm with an obliterated serial number. And this is true. I know that what we found out was that the weapon did have a scratched off serial number.
No way to find out where it came from.
So no way to find out where it came from. Look, and the charges that they charged him with, I mean,
and just like they go on to say,
is he a would-be assassin? That's my question.
Well, what was he doing there for 12 hours if he wasn't there for some nefarious purpose? I
get
mean,
that too.
It is unclear.
Yeah.
But they go on to say it is unclear why he has not been charged with attempting to assassinate the 45th president, despite clear-cut evidence showing he wanted Trump dead. And everything that we've seen about him so far has been definitely, I hate Trump.
Right.
It's all over the place.
Exactly.
Wasn't he like part of the Azov battalion?
He had connections to them. He had connections in Ukraine. He recruited soldiers to fight the war over there. Yeah, I mean, this guy's got a lot of deep state involvement, man.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you just don't know who to believe anymore about any of this. I mean, President Trump, we have what, 50 days left till the election?
Yep.
And then I still think his life is in danger after that.
Do you think he should stop campaigning?
No,
Hell no.
no.
Exactly.
But at the same
moment that
time, who's going to protect him? I mean, the only thing I know to do is to gather MAGA together and us all surround him wherever he goes
I
and
agree.
protect him.
I agree.
Because
Well,
obviously the Secret Service, I really have to say they stepped up. They seen a gun barrel. Is that what happened?
poking through a
fence. And then they're going to say they're not quite sure if he was going to be assassinated, even though they saw a gun barrel poked to a fence.
Yeah.
But they shot off some rounds, but didn't hurt anybody, I don't believe.
Right.
So yeah, there we go. Another assassination attempt of President Trump that is going to be just shoved aside like always. Everything our Congress does, everything our government does, they just, gaslight the American people.
And here's the thing. They're going to take this and they're going to use this to their political advantage also. Because if you think about this, President Trump, what is the one thing that you love about President Trump the most is that he is a people person. He loves people.
And he puts you in the room.
Well, he loves being around people and being in contact with those people. And when he comes out to his rallies, man, he is in contact with those people. Now, if this kind of thing continues on, even when they're failed attempts, they can use this to sit there and go, because I even seen another person saying this earlier, that President Trump needed to just stop campaigning until the election is over.
That's what they want, though.
And that's exactly what they want.
That's
why I say don't give that to them.
It's almost like a setup. I'm not saying 100%. Like I say, these are my views and my opinions, but it feels like a setup. Why would they, put this guy would be out there, and how he got there, who knows? And why Secret Service didn't already know that he was there.
They
didn't
sweep the area. They said that this was an unscheduled event. That was what they said today.
That's what they keep saying. I know. So we'll see about that. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah, this was an OTR event. It was an off the record event. We're going to keep our eyes
on this, and the next one and the next one, because they're not going to stop. Just like we talked about all the rhetoric that continues on with 60 Minutes. They're going to throw out rhetoric.
Yep.
Just remind everybody, hey, this is why you don't need to vote for President Trump. And the thing is, all of the polls that come out have President Trump up.
Big time.
Big time.
Yes.
And they can't stand it.
Well, in talking about the political rhetoric too, like we've said, if you've paid any attention to any of Joe Biden's State of the Unions, all the political rhetoric that he put out there through all of his State of the Unions was nothing but divisive against MAGA. And then Kamala Harris comes out with her statement of how she really opposes political violence. And I seen that on Twitter today, and I had to answer and say, you perpetuate the political violence.
100%.
You perpetuate it each and every time.
And all the Democrats,
the list earlier, over and over.
Representative
and over
Hakeem
again,
Jeffries, it's MAGA extremists on his X feed every single day. I swear he has an AI bot or a staffer or something that says MAGA extremist, and President Trump is bad. I mean, it's constant. These people have Trump derangement syndrome.
Okay.
So bad.
So this was an off the record golf round that he wanted to go play. It was an OTR, right? Correct. According to what they'd said, it was an off the record thing.
Yes.
But you've also got Mr. Routh showing up at 2 a.m. in the morning with his cell phone being pinged there. Okay. And then you've got Mr. Routh sat there with his backpack, sat there with his gun, sat there with his GoPro, all of these things. And
I wonder what's on the camera.
Right. You've got all this set up here for an supposedly off the record golf game that President Trump's going to go play. In my opinion, and knowing the ties that Routh has to Ukraine, that means to me that he has, not only does he have ties to Ukraine, he has ties to our deep state also. So in my opinion, Routh is an operative. This was a setup. And that's where I stand.
Well, that's a good way to be. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, I mean, it had to, but see, okay, so he was there for 20 hours. Or was it 12 hours? I'm sorry.
12 hours.
He was there for 12 hours. But this was all of a sudden a golf game. All of a sudden it just came up.
Right.
You know? So I find this very, very strange. And we need to continue a watch on this. And everybody out there needs to spread the word, that we're not taking this. We're not taking this.
No.
This is just not something we're going to take.
Nope.
Before we close tonight, we want to thank everybody that showed up and listened to us on our first day. It was kind of fun. I know we're a little slow on the uptake here because we're brand new at the live. But please make sure you follow us on X.
Yep.
Is this thing working?
Right there to the right-hand side if you see it. Is this thing working? And we have our webpage, www.is-this-thing-working.com. We've got all of our previous episodes there. Our sponsors are there. You go to our page, you click on our sponsors, you'll find promo codes with great deals on the great products that are there.
You can also donate. You can go on our website and donate on there. We'd appreciate anything that you can just throw our way. I know it's tough, everybody. Just do the best you can. We're just trying to keep the show free for you.
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. We couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.